More fat, more marbling, braising. Hey guys, Clint and Katie here with Butcher Boy out in Reno. Kind of continuing, we started backwards, if you will, on some beef cuts, but today we are going to talk about not all of the cuts out of beef, but this is, if you imagine a beef standing on its four legs, this is the upper half of that from front to back. And then we're going to break it down and show you how it ends up in the case in future videos. So Katie, what do we got down there?
So we're going to start with our chuck right here. This comes out of your chuck section of the beef, funny enough.
Which is like the front shoulder, right?
Yep.
Upper front shoulder?
Yep.
Okay.
And then you go into your ribeye, or export rib is what we call it here at the shop. And then that'll lead you into kind of the loin area.
Which is, we did the video before on the short loin. So this is boneless, but you get the T-bone, the porterhouse, take the bones out, you get the New York, you get the filet right there. And then, so imagine this is like where the rear hip would be of the animal, okay? It's gonna sit right in this area. So that's the top sirloin right there. We'll break down into a picanha and sirloin steaks. And then we got the top round, which is gonna get broken down into London broils. So one neat thing to me about butchering and cooking, you can, if you know where the cut comes from on animal, it gives you a good idea on how to cook it. So let's go back on chucks.
So chucks, that's going to give you mostly well known as your chuck roast and your stew meat. It's a little bit tougher of a muscle because it is that shoulder muscle. It's working constantly while that animal's moving, but it's got great marbling. It's delicious, slow cooking, braising, smoking, anything with liquid. Also great way to cook it. Phenomenal piece of meat in my opinion. Once you get into this rib section here, that's kind of more towards your loin area. So that's going to be a little bit softer of a muscle. Actually, it's going to be really soft. But it's not really working a lot, right? Because it's just hanging out there. It's not moving as much.
Just kind of keeping the cow from falling down on the ground. Right?
And the cool thing is so you can see it's got good marbling in there. All that good marbling is awesome. So that's my favorite section of the ribeye right there. That's going to be right next to the chuck. It has that flavor, but you're getting that tenderness of the steak, where the whole thing is awesome. It's going to have marbling all the way through.
That whole section right there is like high heat grilling.
Yeah,
cooking method.
Perfect. Right? So grilling, you can also smoke and then do a sear on it afterwards. That's awesome. And then you've got your prime rib, which everybody loves a prime rib.
And then when you get more towards the rear, that top sirloin is kind of where it's going to divide that loin into the hind or the round section. So top sirloin makes a great roast. That picanha, we've talked about that in videos, I think better than the tri-tip. It definitely can be grilled, but it's a little bit slower grill, not super high heat. Same with the top sirloin steak. And then once you get into the round, again, just like the chuck, this is the hind leg of a steer, right? So that's holding a lot of weight, doing a lot of work, which means it's going to be tougher, but it's also leaner in this section. So when you've got a tougher, leaner piece of meat, you want low and slow dry heat. Oven roasts, jerky, that sort of stuff. Not great for braising. When you add water to that and braise it, it's going to actually make it tougher and kind of pull what moisture's in there out. So pretty simple. Front end of pretty much every four-legged animal. More fat, more marbling, braising.
Absolutely.
Middle section, great flavor. That's more high heat. The steaks, the chops always come out of there. Then top sirloin is kind of right in the middle of those, and then anything out of the hind, the round, hams, lamb leg, etc. Low and slow dry heat. Next video up, we're going to start breaking this guy down and show you how it gets from this to what we sell in the case.